Okay, good morning. How is everyone doing today? Hey, hubby Bali, how you doing? Streaming now on TradingView and on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, streaming right across the board. Good to see. Good to see hubby Bali. Good morning. Hey, Linley, good afternoon. How you doing? We're back after a short break on Friday and Monday. It is Tuesday the 13th of February, one day before Valentine's Day. So for everyone who is public service reminder, anyone who is hasn't bought flowers or chocolates or whatever else, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So a big reminder, last minute purchases, remember to do that. Good morning, Ju Marinas. How you doing? Hey, Mark. Thank you. Looking younger. What happened? I don't know. Good trades, good profits make me feel better, feel younger, look younger. Thanks for that. Sounds good. Sound is good. Visual is good. Good morning, Pips Apprentice. How you doing? We'll give it a minute or two before we get started. Hope you all have been trading well over the last couple of days since we caught up. Hey Faith, I'm doing very well. Hey Christina, good morning. Hope you're all well. And okay, let's get started. So again, a big welcome back to all the regulars. Thank you for joining me on this daily market analysis. Good to have you all with me. We had a short break Friday and Monday, but it is back to the routine right now. For anyone who is new to the session, do drop a message and say hi. Let me know where you're joining us from. And if you haven't already, the link is right there, up there on the chat. Do join us on the Discord channel if you haven't already. And if you can, do help me out massively. Click that like and subscribe button on YouTube or that little rocket ship button on TradingView if you're watching on whichever platform you're watching on. Okay. Hey Jimmy, good to see you. How you doing? And for all the for anyone who's celebrating the Lunar New Year, a happy Chinese or happy Lunar New Year to everyone out there. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free, put into the chat and let me know. With that, a quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. So please remember that your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. With that, we're done. Okay, do a quick, anyone had any interesting trades you got into, put it into the chat and let me know. Quick review of what happened since the last time we spoke. We did a session on Thursday, so nothing much on Thursday in terms of news. Prices did continue moving. I did hit my take profit on my yen, which I'll share with you shortly. I have it there. Then nothing much else for the rest of the couple of days. On Friday, we had RBA Governor Bullock speaking at 6:30 a.m. GMT +8 at the House of Reps Standing Committee in Economics in Canberra. No big surprises there. You know, got a headline that RBA won't wait for CPI to be inside target range before cutting rates, but rate cuts possible even if inflation outside 2 to 3%. I think that this is a bit of a backpedal in terms of what they were saying during the previous rate decision, where they said, hey, we might even continue raising rates if required, to hit the target. And now they say that We might cut even without hitting the target. So it's just a bit of a backpedal, I would say. Right, we did not see a massive impact from this news. Rohit Kumar just said pound just had news at 12:30. Yes, yeah, 12:30, 3 o'clock timing here. I'll get to that shortly. We had Canadian employment numbers, very good numbers here. Unemployment rate dropping from 5.8 to 5.7. Employment change rising strongly from 0.1k to 37.3k. So very strong numbers here on the Canadian on Friday, employment numbers. If you look at the CAD on Friday, that's why we saw that big drop, well, relatively big drop to the downside from 1.3455 down to 1.3413, and then bounce right back up again. You see why it bounced. It was way outside of the Bollinger. Zoom in a bit. It's way outside of the Bollinger, and that's why it bounced right back up on release of the news, or after the release of the news. Again, because we saw the dollar index strengthen. So that's what happened on Friday last week through to, that was first day of Chinese New Year, second day, third day, yesterday, Monday, the 12th of Feb. The Japanese were on a bank holiday, observance of National Foundation Day. The Chinese were on a holiday because of the Spring Festival or the Lunar New Year. Nothing much happened there. Markets, pretty much, this is the dollar index. On Monday, sit in a relatively wide consolidation between 104, right? This morning was at, well, early this morning at 104 to 104.20 or 104.30, just under 104.30. So in a relatively tight range, all the way through to now, back at that 104.13 level. Okay, then through to today. Through to today, we did have Governor Bailey speaking at the Loughborough, I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm pretty sure, University in England. Didn't do too much at 2 a.m. GMT plus 8. At 10:20 a.m. we did have the Kiwi with the inflation expectations quarter on quarter. It went from, inflation expectations quarter on quarter went from 2.76% down to 2.5%. So we're getting towards that level in expectations for inflation growth, down to that 2 to 3% target range. And because of that, that's going to take the foot off the gas for the RBNZ for further rate hikes, and maybe down the other foot towards rate cuts. And that's why we saw the Kiwi dollar on release of that news at 10:20 a.m. go straight down from 0.6126 down within the hour to 61, almost 6100, continue a bit lower. At that point, I'll tell you, at that point, at the 11 o'clock timing, I was thinking, is this going to keep going lower? I was just about to fire out to you guys and say, you know, you could be looking at a 30 pip stop loss and a good 50 pip take profit, 45 pip take profit. You could even do 20 that way. But before I fired that out, I checked out the Bollinger Bands, and you can see that it was way outside, not way outside, but slightly outside the Bollinger. So I thought I'll wait and see what happens. Is it going to bounce back in at 12, set there at 1 o'clock, push back up? Straight away, that possible trade setup was removed because, you know, it's bouncing back up. We don't know whether it's going to come back down or not. So it's back at 0.6110 right now. Through to right now, which we just had 10 minutes ago, the UK with the employment numbers. Unemployment rate for the UK went from 4.2 down to 3.8. Relatively big drop there on the unemployment rate. Hang on, I've got a question here from Sun W on TradingView. The broadcast seems to be broken. Is it so, or only on my end? Anyone who is on anyone who is viewing on TradingView, let me know if it's working for you guys. It looks like it's still streaming and working fine. Good morning, Goju. How are you doing? Hey, Ali Megadeth 2000. Good to have you. Your first time here. Good to have you with us. Okay, just want to check that the stream on TradingView is working well. While we do that, again, back to the employment numbers from the UK. Unemployment rate 4.2 to 3.8. Average earnings index, that's wage inflation, was, where was it? Was 6.5, got revised slightly upwards to 6.7. Slowed down a little bit down to, holy crap, okay, down to 5.8. Claimant count change. Claimant count change is the number of people claiming for unemployment benefits. Okay, you can see here number of people claiming unemployment related benefits. So the higher the number is not a great thing because there's more people claiming for unemployment benefits. It was 11.7, got revised down to 5.5, and it's currently released at 14.1. Okay, so overall, it looks like good news for the employment numbers for the UK, but the main thing I'm watching out is that claimant count change is increasing with average earnings slightly higher than expected. Okay, and because of that, what we're seeing here on the pound dollar is on release of the news, it went from 1.2619 up to 1.2641 or 40, right? So a small push to the upside because of those green numbers, but I don't think it's going to have the big push yet. There are a couple of levels that needs to be broken before we're going to see the pound dollar push higher, right? Or consistently push higher. And then through to tonight, very importantly, at 9:30 a.m. 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, we have the US CPI number year on year to be released. US CPI year on year was 3.4, expected 2.9. Look at that. Look, you just have to look at those numbers and be like, hey, the US is getting into its target range of 2 to 3%, 3.4 down to 2.9. So this was slightly, the last time it was released, is still slightly above its target range, now getting into that target range. And if you look at the last few releases, in September, 3.2 up to 3.7. October stayed at 3.7, November 3.7 down to 3.2, December 3.2 to 3.1. We saw a bit of a jump on the to the upside in January from 3.1 to 3.4. Kind of expected that in January because of the increased demand from retail sales. Now looking like we're getting into that 2 to 3% target range. I wouldn't be surprised even if we did see a 2.8, maybe even a 2.7 here on the US CPI. Okay, so that's something I'll pay attention to tonight, 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8. Through to tomorrow, we'll have our session at 3 again with the CPI year on year for the UK. I'll tell you more about that during tomorrow's session. So the main thing to focus on now that almost everything else is done, is the US CPI number to be released. Likely to go from 3.4 to 2.9. I'm even thinking of 2.7, 2.8. Now I'll put that in. I won't run the poll because I have to click a lot of things to run the poll. But put it into the chat. Let me know, what do you think is going to be the US CPI? And quite easily, I would say is, do you think it's going to be higher than 2.9 or lower, or higher than 3 or lower than 3? Keep it simple there. Put it into the chat. Let me know, do you think it's going to be higher than 3 or lower than 3? And while you're doing that, I'll give you a minute to do that, or 30 seconds to do that. Sun W, the stream seems to be working well for Goju. So if you're still on the stream and it's not working very well, maybe just click refresh. That might work a little bit better. And hey Angel Case, how are you doing? Hey Erwin, good to see you. Daily Gaming, I hope you're feeling a lot better. Daily Gaming put it into the chat saying that he got hit by a car yesterday. And you're fine, just sitting in bed. I hope you're up and about sooner rather than later. With that, Habib Ali said possibly higher. Lindy says lower. Angel Case says lower. Christina says lower. We've got more people voting lower than voting higher. Okay, so it looks like in my view we should be a bit lower back into the range. I'm just noticing the pound dollar pushing up, so we're looking at that point that it needs to break. Let me catch this one more level. That's a 50% there as well. Okay, so we have 50% retracement right there, which is testing, and then beyond that, a 61.8%, which we could be getting towards. Okay. Daily Gaming says good for US dollar because US is in a danger, but Biden is dumbing the market. Says everything's well. We know. We know what Biden tends to do. Not going to get into the political side of things. Okay, so with that, what I anticipate that CPI number for the US could be a bit lower, which I know I said I'm not going to do this too much, but it's interesting to look at this to see the Fed Watch tool from the CME group. Again, still in that borderline range, small changes in terms of keeping the rates steady on the 20th of March was 81, 84, right now at 86.5%. A cut was lowered down from 19 to 16, right now at 13.5%. So we're almost heading in towards that certainty of keeping rates on hold for the March meeting from the Fed Reserve. Now, looking at the charts. Before that, just want to share with you, this was one of the trades, or one trade that I did. The one trade I did, the US yen. We were talking about this on Thursday. All right, we were talking about this on Thursday. We were looking for it to break out of that area, right? Break above that resistance and out of the area, that top point there. So to buy at 148.90 with a 30 pip stop loss and a 60 pip take profit. It took a lot longer than I expected, but then it got up to 60 pips or hit my take profit on Friday. I wasn't even watching that trade and it hit my take profit and closed out. So easy 60 pips there on the US yen. Okay, so now looking at the chart here for the dollar index. If you got onto the yen trade, let me know. Today being the 13th of Feb, lucky it's not a Friday, we have the dollar index consolidating along this level. I don't need this. I'm going to take that away, take these away for now. Don't need that dotted line. I'll keep that 50 and 60 there. Okay, and just want to check this big line up. All right. I like that diagonal trend line. We're going to keep that there. That's providing a bit of a cap. And with that, what I'm looking at is if the inflation number, right, if the CPI number for the US is going to be that 2.9, 2.8, 2.7% there, I think about 2.8, 2.7, we're going to see a bit more weakness on the dollar because that's going to factor in the anticipation that, hey, we're coming towards, or the US is coming towards its target level. As much as we looked at the CME Fed Watch tool thinking that we're almost at a certainty of rates holding, we might still see the dollar weaken down. Okay, so with that, now let me just check this level. I think that's fair. Okay, what I'm looking for it to do at this point is to check this, right? Break out of its current consolidation to head down towards this level of 103.65, which is right in the middle of this range here. Okay, so I feel that upside is going to be limited because of that downward trend line and also that resistance level. Dollar index, in this case, I'm looking for it to trade lower down to 103.65. Right, so we're looking for that weakness to continue down towards 103.65. Mark just said huge bullish on, yeah, I saw on the pound dollar, just big push up. Dollar index seems not to move. Pound dollar pushed up. It still hasn't broken that 50% level yet. So I still have a couple of minutes to let that brew before we look at a possible trade setup. So now looking at that weakness, potential weakness on the dollar to the downside, then looking at the Kiwi, we see that pushing back up. Take that away. That was on Thursday. This trend line is broken. We could still have that in place, right? And that's broken as well. That's broken. Take that away. Check this out. It's got right to that 50% level and it's bouncing back up. Okay, there we go. So that's what I'm looking at here on the Kiwi dollar. Okay, that's what I'm looking at on the Kiwi dollar. Found 50%, bouncing back up. Not ready yet. We want to see more of that weakness to the downside. Look, dollar is retracing slightly, ever so slightly there on the dollar, retracing. So that breakout not confirmed yet. Let's see that one. Look for breakout, trade down to 103.65. Okay, breakout not confirmed yet, is bouncing back up slightly. So that's sitting at that point. What I would like, what's more likely to happen, or what I would like to see, is for it to push to the downside. Because if it does bounce up, right, if it does bounce up, I want it to break that trend line. I want it to get to that resistance, a couple of levels I want to get to. So I would say that on the alternate view, if we see the dollar strength come back into play, I would say 6080, stop loss 20, take profit down to 40 pips. Right, so I'm looking for that push. So also thinking, keeping in mind that the Kiwi just had their inflation expectations at 2.5%. So looking at further downside on the Kiwi, so a bit of a rebound. Now looking at the downside, 6080 on the Kiwi. Sell 0.6080, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside for the Kiwi. Hey D-Train, good afternoon, how you doing? Pound is climbing up. Yes, it's on the way, it's not ready yet, so don't get too excited, not ready yet. I would be, so that pushed down, but did not retrace as high as we thought. What I'm actually looking out here, on the Aussie, right, on the Aussie dollar would be that it's pushed up, it's found 50, right, it's found 50 one time here, and then again at this point. Now, if the dollar does continue to weaken, right, to push the Aussie dollar to the upside, what I would be looking out for here would be for it to break above that 50% level, 6550, stop loss 20, and I'll go take profit up to even 60 pips to the upside. All right. Why this is, if the dollar weakens, then we're going to see this push up, break above that 50% retracement level, break above that trend line, which we see here. Right, we can keep that trend line there. So we can see that trading, possibly trading back up towards that resistance level. So I'll look at this on the dollar weakness scenario, 6550, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the upside for the Aussie dollar. Look at the dollar still sitting right there, rebounding all the way. Not all the way, but most of the way. We're looking to buy at 0.6550, stop loss 20, take profit, not top, take profit 60. There we have it. If it does trade down, let's just check whether it's worthwhile trying to sell it down. Sell down at this point, we would have about 20 to 30 pips at the most. Stop loss, you can keep it very tight at 15. I think that if you're looking to sell down on the Aussie, it might be more worthwhile to try to sell down on the Kiwi, especially with the inflation expectations that was released this morning. I'll look to buy the Aussie up. So we'll cover both scenarios on dollar weakness and on dollar strength, okay? With that, then on to the yen. You all know it's my favorite, one of my favorite pairs, the US yen. That trade, 60 pips, is done and dusted. This morning I did come in and I saw it was right there. No, right there. It was pushing up and I thought, great, if it pushes up strongly. So this was a 10 o'clock candle here. Oops, 10 o'clock candle there. And I thought, great, if it does push up strongly, it'll break above that previous high from last week. And then we could see it trade up towards that 150.40 level. And then it sat there. It just sat there all the way through right now where it's pushing up. Maybe a little bit because of that rebound on the dollar index. But we're seeing that despite all that volatility and that fluctuations on the dollar, the US yen is still pushing to the upside, or has been pushing to the upside. Now, if it breaks above this level, right? If it breaks above this interim level, this will be a trade that I'm super interested in, is 149.75. I'll give it a bit of space. 149.75. Take profit again at 60 pips. Stop loss 30 pips would be reasonable to the upside that way. Okay. Hey Lingopedia, how are you doing? Just went through the CPI, looking at maybe for the US, maybe 2.7 to 2.8%, looking at possible weakness on the dollar index. I've missed doing the session with you guys as well. As much fun as I've had eating and drinking during the Lunar New Year, but it's good to be back. Thank you. Good morning, Jamil. How are you doing? Okay. So US yen, looking at it pushing up 149.75, 30 pip to 60 pip towards that resistance level of 150.30 or .40. So now I'll look to buy. I did well on that. I closed at 60 pips on that one, so not 70. Doing this 149.75, stop loss 30, take profit 60 to the upside. Still looking at that. Dollar index still showing a bit. I really like this. I think this could be end of the hour kind of move. We've had Mark tell me about the pound dollar. We've had D-Train saying that the pound is climbing. Very relatively straightforward there on the pound. That straddle did not worked out a little bit, right? Take all that away. What we're paying attention to here is we just had, again, a quick recap, is strong employment numbers here for the UK. Unemployment rate dropping from 4.2 to 3.8. Average earnings index 6.7 to 5.8, although slightly higher than expected. And claimant count was, when I click that, was 11.7, revised down to 5.5. Slightly lower than expected at 14.1, but still a slightly big jump. Overall, strong numbers here for the UK. So remember, we have 50% retracement right there. This was formed on Monday last week. It got held on Wednesday. It got held again on Friday and again on Monday yesterday, and now it looks like it's trying to break to the upside. What I would be looking for, I have 60 here. I don't think we need 61.8 there. I think that if it breaks higher, Bollinger is good. If it breaks higher, we could be looking at 1.2660. Stop loss in this case, I would want it about 25 to 30. So we say 30 there. Take profit. This would be the middle move, but you could go up to, I don't see a 100 pip move, to be honest. I don't see it as a 100 pip move. I think that this point would be reasonable, 80 pips. Okay, no. We're going to put it to 115, but we're going to consider a possible hesitation at about that point. All right, so we're looking at possibly 60, but we could go up to 110. I like that. Okay, I like that. Pound looking to buy at 1.2660 with a 30 pip stop loss and 110 pip take profit with a possible hesitation at 1.2725. Okay. Hang on a second. Okay, I got a couple of things on the chat. Let me just get to that shortly. Now, pound, we're looking to buy at 1.2665. 60, 30 to 110. 1.2660, stop loss 30, take profit 110. Hesitation at 1.2725. There we go. Okay. All right, Halbi Bali, no worries. Daily Gaming says, I see triangle on pound dollar waiting to break. We can have a look at that. Jamil says, would like to tell you last, I'm good trade, make good profit. I know, Jamil, I know you're good at your trades, you're making good profits. Consistently as well, so I'm very happy for that. Mark Ferrer said, let me check one moment on pound. I see Daily Gaming's question on the triangle. I think what you're highlighting is this move. Is this triangle there? Oops. Is that triangle there? It's breaking. So yes, I do think we're going to see that push back up. Okay. So yes, I note that triangle. I see that pushing is coming very close. I actually don't want it to be pushing up too much. We still have about 24 minutes to go. If this pushes too strongly, it'll be outside the Bollinger. It would have most likely come back in a bit. So I want it to stabilize a little bit there for now. Jamil is going to get a 20 grand withdrawal. Fantastic. Mark Ferrer says 1. Sorry. 1.2685. 1.2685. 1.2685 is right there. Yes, I do think that it's very near, but yes, possible for sure. It looks likely. What might even happen, Mark, is I think that it might hit 1.2685, come back in and do that. Maybe. Depends on how this candle works. It's pushing a bit too strongly. If it closes like that, I think that there's going to be a bit of a retrace. But yes, still looking at upside, potential upside move. Then onto the euro. Take that one away, that's done. Remove that. We don't need this. We have 38.2, which is slightly broken. We have 50, which is close. There we go. Euro, that makes 61.8 is there. In fact, I can catch this level first. Let's swap the lines around because I like that as my resistance. Now looking at this point, again, if this pushes up similar to the pound dollar, then I'll look for a reaction at that point to buy it up. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that euro could push up to that level. If it breaks, then I'll buy it up. If it reverses from this point, so we want to see a reaction at 1.0815, 1.0815, which is the 50% level. I wouldn't want to sell it down from this point, not enough space, right? Dollar pushing back up. You can see it pushing back up very strongly at this point. Pound dollar retracing slightly, that's what is good. Okay, now thinking of the euro at this point, like a couple of things. Pound 50. 61.8 is right there, push down. If it trades lower, I'm not going to be looking for, I'm not going to try to sell it down at this point. So let me think. Euro dollar pushing this way, 50% right there. That makes sense. Going to sit at this point. I'm tempted to think of that upside, but it's a counter and its reacted level is quite strong with, we don't need this for now. I'm just thinking of this whole area here being a strong, relatively strong support. Okay, so what it seems like it's trying to do, it's sitting right there, dollar index sitting right there, pushing up a little bit. We could see this test. I want to see a reaction at 1.0723 or 1.0720. Right, so this is on a dollar weakness scenario. We're going to see this push up. What about on a dollar strength scenario? Looking for it to break below this support. I don't think that, okay, we'll keep that one there. And that's what I'll be looking for. I'll look for it to break the support to the downside. I'll sell down 1.0710. Stop loss tight, no more than 20 pips. Take profit down to 42, 45 to the downside. Okay, so nothing on the euro at this point. There is a bit of space there, but it's right in the middle of that support and interim resistance level. So I would look for dollar strength scenario, look for it to break the support to sell down from 1.0710, 20 pip stop loss, 45 pip take profit to the downside. So 1.0710, stop loss 20, take profit 45. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. If it all makes sense, put into the chat, let me know. And if you can, help me out massively. Just a quick reminder, do remember to click on that like and subscribe button. What would be very nice to do on the euro would be if it sits there, right? Or if it holds 61, it bounces back up, then I'll look to sell it back down. Right? So I don't actually like this as much, but I don't think it's going to bounce up. I would love to see it bounce up. I don't think it's going to happen. So this is option 1, best case scenario. This is a make do scenario. If it drops, look for it to break the support to the downside. Then onto the US Swiss franc, a big push to the upside. Dollar, big retrace, now showing a possible pin bar. That's pushing up, so that did not trigger. Take those away, take that one away. The channel is there, it's coming towards that resistance and 61.8 level, so that's going to hold. Then my next resistance will be at this point here. There we have it. We want to see a reaction at 8815 or 8820. If it breaks up, then we're going to buy it to the upside or sell it back down. But 8830, take profit 60 pips, 65 to the upside, stop loss 20. Right, but it's breaking the top of the channel, breaking that resistance to the upside on dollar strength. But sitting in that consolidation, what could happen here on the dollar as well is maybe like that. Okay, so 8830, 20 pip stop loss, 65 pip take profit on the US Swiss franc. We're looking for this to buy it up. 0.8860, stop loss 25, take profit 60, 20 and 65. Okay, there we go. I knew something was off. 20, take profit 65. Mark says I've put 1.075 with a 15-minute time frame. I think you meant that on the euro. Yes, that could sell down. And Swiss volatility because of CPI, yes, it's to be released now or already released. Month to month, 0 to 0.6, 0.2 release. So CPI is slowing down more than expected, but a bit higher than previous. That's why we're seeing the weakness on the US Swiss franc to the upside. The main thing is what's going to happen here on the, there we go, on the dollar index. It's in that consolidation. I think that's fair. So we do have buying and or selling opportunities on across the majors. Then looking at the US CAD, take that away. That's 50. We have 61.8, so that did not happen. Take that away. where it came close or tested and rebounded. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now sitting right across at this point here, looking at this. Okay, nope. So looking at this on the USCAD, dollar weakness, break 61 to the downside. We can look for that. No CAD news on the horizon. So you look to sell down from 1.3425. Stop loss no more than 20. Take profit down to 60 pips to the downside on the US CAD on a dollar weakness scenario. Okay. So US CAD, we're looking to sell 1.3425. Stop loss 25, stop loss 20, take profit 60. There we go. All right. I'm happy with that. Any questions so far? All good? Put into the chat, let me know. Pound is retracing back down. So quick recap before we get to gold. Kiwi is pushing, looking at could push lower. Aussie is sitting right there, that's fair. US yen is waiting. You can see that as much as now the dollar is pushing back up, trying to push the yen back up. Pound, dollar sitting there. Euro dollar not doing too much. US Swiss franc 0.2% on the Swiss CPI number release. If it breaks above that resistance, we're going to see the upside move. US CAD pushed down, sitting a bit of a choppy consolidation. Breaks below 61.8, we're going to see further downside. That's all good. Then on to gold. Take that away. So gold, we were saying at that point it could either bounce or break to the downside. It did come down, test that trend line and then push back up, tested that trend line again. Finally on yesterday broke down from the trend line towards that previous swing low that we have here. Okay, so it's tested a swing low and bounced back up. That makes sense. I don't need this because it's all broken. That's my 61.8 and my swing high and my trend line. So I'm happy with that. So now, given that we see a kind of a double bottom here on the gold, right? And we can see that a reaction at this support level tends to see relatively good upside. Again, pairing up with the idea that we're going to see the weakness on the dollar index, we're looking for this to push up, right? Looking for this to push to the upside. Now 50, if it breaks above that 50% level, we could see it climb up to this point. So what I want to see is a breakthrough to push up. So that means 2028 or 2029, above 2029, we could see 2045 with a bit of an interim level here, I would say. And now a new, what's SHS, Mark? Let me know. Okay, so gold, I'm looking for it to break 2029 to get to 2035 and beyond that 2045. Gold, we're looking for it to break above 2029, could trade to 2035, beyond that 2045. Okay, Head and shoulder. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Shoulder, head, shoulder. With a neckline there. Okay, so yeah. So Marcus, I think you're talking about to go on gold. We're looking at a possible shoulder, head, and shoulder to pair up with the double bottom with the neckline at about that point. So yes, a bit of a confirmation, I would say above 2029 for further upside potential. Agree? Yes. Daily gaming asking for pound yen. So pound, we just saw possible push, further push to the upside. US yen needs to break above the interim to the upside. Then onto the pound yen. We're talking about this pushing up. That worked out well to the trend line. Got to the trend line and broke strongly to the upside because of the yen. Now that it's broken that point, very high level here on the pound yen, pushing higher at currently at 189.23. I always put it to the next round number at 190. Let me just think about this for a moment. Pound dollar pushing up. Yes, you're going to see that upside move. Let's check that one. Could see that get up to this point. That's fair. I think it's coming close. I would be very careful. If you haven't bought already, I'll be careful. I'll be extra careful because that could retrace back down. If you're already in a trade, I would say 189.60 and 190 would be, you already bought it, was my TP. What is your TP right now, daily gaming? I would have it, just below 190. Let me think. I would watch to see what happens in the next 7 minutes. If it retraces, I will close it out. If it doesn't have a big strong retrace, then we could see about 189.50 to 190 would be reasonable. Okay, so your take profit should be in this range, just with that round number and at 61.8 level. Okay. Then just an interesting point for everyone is that Bitcoin hit that 50,000 level, touched that 50,000 level right now at $49,999 for one Bitcoin. This is a level last seen in December 2021. Right, last seen in December 2021. So it's broken above that 61.8 level from the long term. The next thing we're paying attention to here is what happens at 52. This is the peak at that point, at 52,126. Remember again, I'm not full bottle on this, but there is a Bitcoin halving event coming up, so we might be looking at further upside here on the BTC USD higher in the year. Yes, so I do think that we're going to see a bit more upside. Not sure it's going to go all the way, but a bit more upside on the BTC USD, especially with the events on the horizon. Okay, so with that said, please remember, if you haven't already, do join us in the Discord channel. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Put it into the Discord channel, let me know. And if you can help me out, click that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Please trade well, trade safe. Take care now.